Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. I was called to share this podcast episode and story that is really coming from the bottom of my heart and just shares and highlights some of the honest truths about entrepreneurship that I think need to be talked about more. And I really think that sharing and being honest about what the inside and behind the scenes of a business looks like can be so helpful to somebody who's on their way to building a 6-figure or multi-6-figure business, and really show them what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. And I think there's so much beauty in sharing the beautiful results and money milestones. And I love to do that. I love to teach my students to bask in their celebrations. And I do the same thing. I teach my daughter to do that. I think that more women should share and brag about how much money they're making and about all the beautiful things that they're accomplishing in the world. I do also think that because we only see glimpses and snippets and little bits and pieces of our friends and colleagues and people that we look to online, coaches, mentors, instructors, etc., that we don't always have the full picture, and we never will, because someone else's life is someone else's life. Even I share as much as I can, but there are, weeks or seasons of my life and business where I sometimes just don't get around to sharing as much because I'm so busy being a mom and a business owner and taking care of myself. And so sometimes it just doesn't come to mind to talk about certain things. Not that I don't want to. And sometimes I don't want to, right? We're not obligated to share every bit of our life online, and probably wouldn't be a great idea if we did anyway, because there are some things that we want to keep private, right? There are some things that I won't share for the sake of safety and, being a protective mom and wanting to keep myself safe, and also wanting to keep some things to myself. And I think that that's important. But there are some things, especially recently, that I do want to share, that I do want you to be able to look at and realize that you're not alone, that even at multi-6 figures, this is something that happens in my business and in my life. And it doesn't mean that something's gone wrong. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this podcast episode is the way that I have handled self-coaching myself through this and eliminating shame from these experiences. I used to think that shame was such a vital factor that I could not control based on things that would just happen to me. Keywords happen to me, right? I felt like things would just happen. I would react and feel guilty or shameful or disappointed or embarrassed or whatever it would be. And I wasn't able to control that. And of course, there are still moments where there is that initial shock and shame. But I am so much better through self-coaching and knowing myself and learning myself and being kind to myself that a lot of things that have happened are not things that shock me in that same initial way, where I'm able to handle and manage and love on my nervous system, my central nervous system, so that it doesn't completely consume and take over me. So recently I had a situation where my mastermind, which is payment plans, on monthly payment plans, where a student wasn't able to continue on, and for different life and personal and financial reasons was not able to continue on in the payment plans. And I am never going to be that coach that's going to force them to stay and force them to either go into debt or take out loans or borrow money or put them in a state of nervous system exposure and shock for the sake of what, really, right? I'm never going to be that coach. But at the same time, initially, it was a blow to me, not because that was the intention, but because as coaches and business owners, sometimes it's really hard not to take things personally, especially when our programs are so connected to us spiritually and our downloads that we are so connected to. It can feel very daunting and very upsetting and even frustrating or angering. And I want to normalize that there are these emotions that are so normal and part of being a business owner in the online space and just in general. At the end of the day, we are human beings. And the more we allow ourselves to process our emotions and be kind to ourselves and be able to treat our central nervous systems with love and safety and reassurance, that is the best thing that we can do, because we truly cannot control the actions and the circumstances that happen within our businesses. There are, of course, things we can learn from. I took this as a learning lesson, especially with my first mastermind, and just allowed myself to sit in gratitude that this really doesn't happen in my business. I'm very grateful that my students, they stay and they stick along and they have incredible transformations. But even the best coaches and business owners will have people that aren't able to continue, that aren't able to continue in their payment plans, that have varying levels of satisfaction from your coaching. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. We also don't have to take on, every single bit of advice from people around us or even our clients, because we can try to appease everybody around us, but we can end up losing ourselves in the process. So really checking in with yourself and seeing how you feel and how that feels to you is really important, and something that I've learned to do throughout this process. I've also had conversations with people who really desired to work one-on-one with me and then last minute said, you know what, it doesn't feel like it's the right time right now, or they didn't have the money. And that is another situation where in the past, I would make it mean something about me. I would think that, oh my gosh, am I mirroring something? Is it something that I'm not attracting energetically, right? And of course, I can go down that rabbit hole. And sometimes there is something there, sure. But sometimes I believe that things in the universe just happen. Think that things just happen. Think that shit just happens. And I think that my students, my clients, my potential clients, my community are so sovereign in their decisions. They're so smart. They're so intelligent. They are so sure. They're so decisive that I trust their decisions. I do not push back and try to force them into a different way of being. I just allow them to make decisions that feel right to them. Because at the end of the day, what is in alignment for them is what's in alignment for me. I wouldn't want to be in a situation where somebody says yes up front, but then puts them in a severe financial strain. That's not an ethical way to do business. Sometimes we don't know, right? But if it's something that they are voicing up front, I let that just be a decision that they make. And when the time is right, they'll come back around. And even better so, because then they'll be in a much better headspace to be able to really focus on the coaching and not worry about how they're going to make that next payment month after month. And so I think that there is so much about running a flowy business that is so beautiful and allows me to learn so much about how I want to show up in the world and in the coaching industry. I will admit, I look around to other coaches and I think, you know what? I should have done something like that. I should have launched something like that. Or, oh, the way they did this was so good, so planned out. I need to be more of a planner. I need to be more organized. But I'm not a planner, right? There are some things that I do plan for in terms of times, right? Maybe times of the year, maybe specific concepts I want to bring, but I do not plan out everything meticulously. I'm not an analytical person. I am not somebody that plans out every step of a launch or like a quarterly plan or even a yearly plan. That's just not something that I do. And I don't make it a problem. Just like I didn't make it a problem when my client said that she couldn't pay the rest of the payment plans. I didn't make it a problem when potential clients told me that they're not ready to do one-on-one right now, that the multi-five figures is just not something that they're able to make, but is something that they want to work towards and save up for. And I don't make that mean anything about me because I also have clients that say to me, yes, I don't even need to know what the price is. I'm in. Send me the invoice. I'm going to pay in full. I'm so excited to get started. Right? I don't make it mean anything about me because I trust my clients so much. I don't think that it's something I need to drive further in with pain points. It's not something that I need to convince them that they need, or else something is wrong with them or they're not going to succeed without me. I don't believe that. I believe that my clients and my community will succeed with or without me. But for the clients that choose to work with me, we're going to have so much fun together and I'm going to be in their corner and I'm going to make sure that we do everything possible to achieve those goals in the way that feels good to you, that honors your energy, in a way that honors my coaching style, which shows that my students are sovereign beings that get to make decisions from their own power. And part of building a flowy, sovereign, sustainable, multi-six-figure business is releasing and letting go and knowing that you're not going to have an idea of how things are going to look all the time, and that is okay. It's realizing that you do not need to plan or show up in the way that other people do. Part of showing up in my business has been muting or unfollowing other people in my industry that make me feel like I'm doing something wrong in my business when they don't even know me. And I don't really even know them. And so I release that idea of feeling like I need to follow this generic state or post that they're posting online or sharing that doesn't even apply to my business. And I release that from my energetic sphere. I also have given myself permission to play around with doing things differently. I am not interested in following traditional business practices and business strategies because I am not a traditional business owner. I believe that I'm a starseed. I'm a soul that has reincarnated several times on Earth and learned several lessons, and I chose to come here to Earth to spread a specific soul mission and soul purpose. That is why I'm here. My business is not something that is going to help me make decisions based on what is most profitable, but based on the ideas and concepts and containers that choose me first and foremost, that I feel like I am meant to bring into the physical world. So whether one person signs up or 100 people sign up to something that I'm offering, I allow divine guidance and the spirit of my business and my angels of the highest good and the highest light to support me and divinely guide me and to create abundance and provision for me through my business because this is something that I'm meant to do. I don't follow traditional business practices because my business is anything but traditional. So I share these things with you and some of the comparison and the doubts. And I do look at other people's businesses. I do listen to other people's podcasts and read other people's emails and see how other people do things. And I want you to know that that is normal. At any stage of business, you're going to run into people who say no, that don't want to work with you. You're going to run into people who aren't completely satisfied with your coaching or your offer or whatever it may be. You're going to run into people who have opinions and things that they're going to tell you that you quote unquote need to do or quote unquote should do in your business. And you are allowed to give yourself permission to say no. You are allowed to give yourself permission to release that shame and guilt, because you, at the end of the day, know your business and know your vision and your purpose, your soul mission here on earth, more than anybody else does. More than anybody else's self-imposed limitations, more than anybody else's social constructs that they are buying into, more than anybody else's limitations and biases and frames of reference based on what they feel like they need to do that are then projected on towards you. You are the catalyst. You are the high priestess. You are the decision maker in your business. Nobody else. I hope that this episode inspires you and reminds you that you are not alone, and there are so many things that happen in business that do not have to mean anything about who you are or your worth or your identity or any of those things. Nothing has meaning until we add meaning to it. If this episode was helpful, please share it on your Instagram stories and tag me at tiffanychung.co or send me a message. I would love to hear from you and just want to remind you and reassure you that nothing has gone wrong. You are just a human running a business, and it's all normal. It is all okay, and you're doing an amazing, amazing job. If you are looking to work together, if you're looking to work together one-on-one, send me a DM, or you can click the link in my bio where you can apply to work one-on-one together with me. Business Activation Academy is always open, so you can enroll at any time. That's also in the link in my bio and the show notes, tiffanychung.co/BAA. That is my comprehensive academy with 6 signature modules and live coaching every single month to help you design the business of your dreams, starting with uncovering your secret sauce, designing your one-on-one offer, learning to market and sell. My mastermind, Magic Mind, is going to open again early next year. Make sure you're on the wait list for that. That'll also be in the show notes and in the link in my bio. And if you have any questions on any of this, or you just want to chat further and see what is the best option for you, I would love to coach and guide you. Just send me a DM on Instagram at tiffanychung.co, and I will catch you in the next episode. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.